Welcome to TechFist Java. In this video, basically, we are going to discuss the way which we can break the Singleton Design Pattern. In our previous videos, we have seen that the number of ways we can implement the Singleton Design Pattern, and in this video, we are going to see one by one that the way we can break the Singleton Design Pattern, and how we can protect for breaking the Singleton Design Pattern. So for that, I have taken a fifth way of creating a Singleton Design Pattern as an example. In this, basically, it is a double checking methodology by which we have created a Singleton Design Pattern. Implement a Singleton Design Pattern. I created a user class as a Singleton. Now firstly I'll check that the way a Singleton Design Pattern is implemented, and then I'll show you how to break it and how to protect from the breaking it. So what we will do, we just create a user class object using user.get now what we will do, we will just print a hash code of this user object. And again, now we are creating one more object. We can define this object as 1, and here we can define this object as reference as 2, and just print out these two references hash codes and check that if both the references return the same hash code, that means that this particular user class, this method is returning a same object. That means it is creating only one object. So it is a simple implementation of Singleton Design Pattern, and the user class is now behaving like a Singleton. And here it go. Yes, as we can see that the hash code values are same. Now in this video we are going to check that the first way is breaking Singleton by using clone method. So for that, what we will do, we will just make the implementation with the clonable interface, and here what we will do, we just override a clone method. And now in other reference, that is user 3, I am going to create user1 dot clone, and now I'm just commenting out these two statements, and here I am writing out the first statement, and we have to surrounded by brackets. And the same statement I'm just printing with this clonable object, and let's see if these two statements returning a different hash code. That means by using a clone method, I am able to create a different object of this user class. Even we have defined that is a singleton. That means singleton design pattern breaks by using cloning. So what we will do, just check a run. Here we can see that now these two objects returning different hash code. That means this particular clone method return a new object of this user class. Now the singleton design pattern breaks. So how we can handle this type of breaking of singleton design pattern? How we can handle this? So for that, what we will do, we will just make a statement throw clone not supported exception. That's it. Now in line number 14, if I try to write this line number 14, at line number 14 it will give an error, and that error will printed over here. So let's check that. Run the program once again. Now we can see that now the new object is not returning, and at line number 14 in this main class returning a throwing an exception. So that way we can protect our singleton class behavior from cloning. Now we can check the another way of breaking a singleton class by using serialization and deserialization. Another way of singleton design pattern break is by using serialization. So let's just check that how the serialization will impact the singleton behavior of the class. So for that we have a user class. As you know that we are just going to implement the serializable interface. Okay, now in main class let's just try to make this user1 object as serializable. So for that what we have to do, we are just going creating an object output stream, and here we will pass that file output stream, and we will pass the file name. So let's just pass the file name as user data.txt. This particular code needs either throw or either a catch block, so I'll use try catch, and then after with this we can use write object method, and here as we see that user1. So let's just take this object to make it serializable, and then after we will do the flush and close. So this is how we can do the serialization. Now before that, we just run this code once. As we have seen that this clone not supported exception is coming because we have make our class protected from clone. So as of now, what I'll do, I'll comment out this part of code and let's just execute one more time. Okay, so now do the deserialization with the same object user1. So for that, what we have to do, we have to create an object input, that is OI, new object input stream, and here we will pass new file input stream and pass the same file name where we have written the object states when we are doing the serialization. Now what we do, we will read this by using read object method. So what we will do, we will just create one more reference called user4, and here because its return type is object type, we have to cast it into user type, and this method is again looking for some exceptions, so I'll do this way. Now what we will do, we just try to print out the hash code of both the objects. Serializable object, and that is simply a user1. So I'll take it user1 dot hash code, and similarly we just print deserializable and print this object. So as we have been created this user class as Singleton, as per its nature, in this these two statements should return same hash code because we all already have created one object of user1. But when we run this code, as we can see, it is returning two different. I'll comment out this also so that no confusion is there. There is only one print statement now. Now as we can see that this is the serial object which we can make the serializable, and after doing the deserialization, this is the object we got it. So in console, as we can see that their hash codes are different. That means with the serialization and deserialization, there is a new object created for deserialization. So how to protect this behavior, because this particular scenario breaks that Singleton design pattern, a Singleton behavior of this user class. So to protect this, what we will do, we just override the protected object read resolve. and here we will return this user reference, mark it as overrides. It's okay, I can take it that way. It will also work. Now just run once and check that. Before running, we can see that these are returning two different hash codes. Now after adding this read resolve method, let's check that what would be the behavior of this code. Now as we can see that in serialization and deserialization, both are returning same hash code. That means user 4 and user 1 both are having a same object, right? So that way we can protect our singleton behavior from serialization and deserialization. So as of now we have seen that two possible ways by which the serialization and deserialization breaks. One was using a clone method, which can be protected by overriding a clone method and throwing a clone not supported exception within the clone method. And second is serialization and deserialization, and that can be protected by defining a read resolve method in singleton class. So now the third option which we can see that when we are doing this, the reflection is the other way by which this serialization and with this singleton behavior of this user class can break. So how can we protect from reflection? We will see now. Till now we have seen that by using a clone we have break the singleton behavior of this class, and also by throwing an exception from a clone method we have secure our singleton behavior from the clone. And also we have seen that with serialization and deserialization how the singleton behavior breaks, and with using a read resolve method how can we secure our singleton behavior from serialization and deserialization. Now the third way of breaking a singleton pattern is using a reflection. So there is a reflection. By that we can create a new object of this singleton class, and how to secure from that we will see in this way here now. Okay, for that firstly I'll have to see that how can this reflection breaks the singleton behavior. So for that what we have to do, I'm just creating a one user dot class dot get declared constructor. And here I am just defining one constructor of user type and naming it as con, and with con I'm just using sec SSL type as true so that we can access it, and then using this con dot new instance and I'm creating one instance, and here I'm just defining a user type of file. So that's it for this. Now just check that without reflection and with reflection. So this object we have created with reflection. So just check that hash code, and this user one we have created without reflection, the first object. So check the hash code of this. Let's check the hash code values. If this reflection breaks the singleton, then the hash code values of these two objects will be different. So as we can see that this with reflection and without reflection. Or one thing I'll do, I'll comment out these two so that we can see better. I'll run this code again. The only two is, yeah. So as we can see that these two objects are different. So this is the third way of breaking the singleton behavior by using reflection. Now to save this, what we have to do actually, as we all know that reflection is using basically this constructor.new instance is basically using the default constructor of this. So what we can do, we can check here that if user not equal to null, then throw new this error we can throw that, or any of the error we can throw that, custom error we can throw that. We can make it on custom error that reflection not supported for this object. This is singleton. So we can that error we can throw that. So yeah, now if we can run this code, then on this line this particular error should be thrown. So let's just run that and check that. See, when we see that this line in main function at line number 54, this particular error will come. So this new instance basically calling that constructor, and in the constructor this user having already an object, so it is throwing an exception. So that is a third way of breaking the singleton behavior, that is reflection. And also we have seen that how we can save the singleton behavior from reflection. And the fourth way is basically when we are using multiple class loaders. So multiple class loader, to save that from a multiple class loader, it is best way to use an enum. Enum is a constant class which is behaving similar for multiple class loaders. So once it is initialized, the enum will provide a same object again and again. So that way we can save our class from that behavior. So these are the four ways of saving our class from singleton behavior break. So this is very important interview question. When you interviewer asks that how many ways we can break the singleton pattern. So these are the 4 ways by using clone, serialization, deserialization, reflection, and multiple class loaders. So for protect from breaking from clone, we can throw the exception. In serialization, deserialization, we can define the read resolve method, and for reflection from default constructor, we can throw the exception. And for multiple class loaders, we can use the enum type of singleton class. So that's it in this video. Thank you.